do you want to talk about burlesque a bit?
Yeah.
Okay. I know nothing. Let's do this.
Well, I have to tell you, like, burlesque has literally 0% ever been discussed on this show. So
Perfect.
let's hit it.
Let's hit it.
I don't even know if I understand what burlesque is.
Well, it can connect to tattooing. Maybe we can do both. But it's this idea of like you're sharing your body as art, right? And when you all have like sweet tattoos, isn't that kind of the same thing?
Yeah.
You know? I guess it's like this reclaiming our bodies, owning our bodies, being proud of our bodies. Maybe not doing things to our bodies in ways that like, you know, puritanical people would be like giving us the thumbs up. Because I was raised like super Christian, Catholic, conservative, deep Calgary South, right? And so things like taking off your clothes for money and getting tattoos, not on the hopes and dreams vision board, right? But we are able to do things that make us feel at home in our bodies, or at least for some people. It's not for everybody, but isn't that like a cool thing?
Very cool.
Yeah.
So what is burlesque?
Oh man, see, this is where I'm like, I don't know. My partner is an amazing burlesque performer, and I've learned so much from her, and she knows the history, like the decolonization of burlesque, anti-racism in burlesque, all this stuff. And I'm just like, man, I just love taking off my clothes. So for me, now I can speak from my own personal place, right? No one can be upset at me for being like, hey, he's talking about his own experience. For me, as a transgender person, I think about my body as like something that I've put a lot of time and effort into feeling at home in. So I'm like, if I've had all these surgeries funded by the government, taxpayers, then I have to report back, right? Like I am now public art. So of course I should take off my clothes for people because they've invested in me, right?
That's a cool way of looking at it. No, I appreciate that.
You want to see your taxpayer money at work, you know? And I think that's a beautiful thing.
What would a burlesque performance that you would do, like, I know, I guess it's like take off your clothes, but like what would differentiate it from like a stripper experience?
Totally, yeah. So I have friends that are strippers, and they very much tell anyone in the burlesque community, stop saying that you're strippers because you're not. And I'm like, got it, great, good. So I can't speak to that experience too much. But for burlesque, I can even maybe speak to it more as like, what's the difference between like drag and burlesque? Because there's like drag-lesque where like drag performers will take off their clothes. Burlesque is more specifically about performing to music, taking off your clothes in a creative way. You're not lip syncing, and there's like an element of tease, seduction, tension, and playfulness. It's often more clownish than people expect. And I always like to immediately cover my tracks there by being like, we're not clowns. Yeah. You know, I joke about my performances are I'm like, I just feel like a slutty clown. And then people get worried because people are scared of clowns, which totally fine.
Yeah,
Like, I don't look like a clown, but there's like an element of like gag and playfulness, satire often, which I think is really fun for people. Yeah.
It's interesting you said like kind of the clownish aspect. I had always thought burlesque was a little bit adjacent to comedy, except with like more of a sexual tension involved with it.
Yeah. Give people what they want, right?
Well, to any burlesque Puritans here, I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Same.
So all right, so how long have you been doing that?
It's been two years now. Yeah.
Now, did you get into that just simply as like, oh, you know, with my partner having fun with it? Or was there more of a like, hey, this is about like really feeling like at home in my body and like putting my body in display as a part of kind of like reclaiming that part of myself?
I think it all kind of happened together in this beautiful way. As a transgender person, I've been in relationships with women where I never felt like I was quite exactly what they wanted as a trans person. And that might have been completely in my own head. But it wasn't until I met like my partner and my fiance, her burlesque performer name is Bellissima. I haven't felt like wanted and desired as myself authentically by like another individual before, and actually like believing them and like trusting them when they're like, I think you're attractive and hot. I'm like, I think I believe you. I think I do. Cool. So that kind of stepping into my own comfort in my body, but then also having this desire to push trans bodies into public more. There's another amazing performer, Carla Marks, in the city. She's a transgender woman, and seeing her do burlesque, I was like, yeah, I would also like to do this. So Carla Marks and her partner, Bitch Sassity, these are great burlesque performers in the city. They were doing like some coaching. They wanted to come up with like a magical Michaels group called the Jock Strips. And I was like, you gotta let me into this. And I totally weaseled my way in. Initially, I was not on the draft pick, but I was like, I'll design your logo. I'm gonna do all this. You just gotta let me try. And so the two of them let me try, and they're like, okay, we might have created a monster.